Hi everybody, welcome to Ask Mark, our scuba diving Q&A. You ask the questions down in the comment section under this video on YouTube, and if you use the Ask Mark hashtag, then I and other Scuba Diver Magazine subscribers answer your comments so that you get an answer as soon as possible. But as soon as I can, I'll then turn that question into a video like this one that might hopefully better explain and answer your questions, and others can learn as well, because there are no silly questions when it comes to scuba diving. Today I'm answering a question from Lenny about multi-purpose wings. So Lenny says, I've been watching plenty of your videos lately, including lots of older ones. Yeah, I've been around for a while now. And a common question I'd seen was if there was some way to get a single wing style that works for both single and double cylinder setups, with the answer always being no, with lots of good reasons you mentioned for why that is. However, it seems to me that the main problem on a double wing with a single cylinder being the tacho effect. Has there not been a simple frame, like a baby backplate, if you will, that would fit to the inside of the wing to hold that inner part down with a single cylinder, just as if you had two cylinders in there? Think of a butterfly setup where the wings hold down the webbing on the inside of the double wing. Seems to me that might solve the problem. Or am I missing something? Thanks for the great video and advice. Yes, and some people have actually tried. I actually have one here. So let me explain the concept first. It's better if I explain with this one. So the tacho effect, for anyone who doesn't know, is you have two fundamental wing shape styles for either single cylinders or twin cylinders. So with this one, it has this big, like, flat dead space that I call it in the center. So with twin cylinders, because you have two side by side, if you didn't have this big, like, flat area, then the bladder would be in the middle as well, but because you've got the cylinders kind of there, it will be the same as if it's kind of pushing down on the actual bladder, so it wouldn't be able to inflate. So you can't use single style wings for twin cylinders. And vice versa, if you have a single cylinder in the middle of a twin wing, then sure, you have plenty of space in the middle for the cylinder, and both sides can inflate. However, when they do inflate, they naturally lift up because air just wants to get to the highest point, and now the bladder is shaped a bit like a tacho. That's why we call it the tacho effect. But the air is now higher than the valve, so you can't dump gas from a horizontal position. You'd have to sit upright so that gas goes up to your shoulders, vent it, and then go back down, which is a hassle. Another problem comes with the elbow placement. So with twin wings, the elbow for your low pressure inflator is in the center because you have two cylinders, two cylinder valves, and if you had it offset on the left-hand shoulder, it's going to be right in front of your first stage and it's going to get in the way. Single cylinder wings do have it offset on the left-hand side. Redundant bladders have it on, like, opposite sides, so that it's free of the valve. So you're going to come across that issue when it comes to designing a twin style wing that can fit single cylinders. The whole, like, retention strap thing probably would work perfectly fine just to stop the lobes from floating up. You just kind of either pin them down or bungee them down. Diving wings have been doing that for generations. I'm not a huge fan of, like, bungee retention straps, just because if in the unlikely event that your BCD bladder is punctured, that bungee is now going to squeeze it in, and it can run the risk of squeezing any positive buoyancy that you do have out of that bladder. So you get something like this, which has a like bungee retention system. This is to help it keep like neat and tidy. This one's really quite loose, but when it's fully inflated, yeah, the bungee starts to strain, and then if you have any kind of escape for that gas, the bungee just kind of scrunches it in. This is a like the bladder assembly for the Hollis SMS 100, which kind of was set up as a, or at least when it first came out and we first saw it, or at least I first saw it, it's kind of got everything that you want for all three types of diving. So you have the grommets down the center so that you can use a backplate on the inside and then bolt twins onto it. You have these vertical slots which are for cam bands, so you can fit a single cylinder onto it, and the SMS and the SMS meant side mount system, so it was designed for side mounting. It had the whole harness assembly to clip side mount, and it had this sort of butt plate as well. So it kind of was an all-in-one system. Didn't take off that well. It was still quite early days when it came to side mount, and you can see it kind of had that trapezoid shape, that almost diamond shape. That's now been more perfected by the side mount community. And the problem with things like this is that they're what's the old saying? It's jack of all trades but aces of none, where it does a bit of everything perfectly fine, but to like really specialize, it's better to get the specialized thing. With side mount in particular, I know you haven't mentioned side mount, but with side mount in particular, it's better to just get a side mount BCD. You can like mix and match and create something that does side mount, but it's just so much better if you have the exact harness thing, and you can have the clips and the D-rings and exactly where you want it, and the buoyancy is kind of on point. Whereas if you create your own kind of thing, it'll get you there, but it won't be particularly just good at it, basically. With singles and twins, yeah, you can customize things to your heart's content, but at the end of the day, yeah, when you get to that kind of level where you're singles and twin set diving, you're pretty invested enough that you're just going to invest in a second BCD. One for your single cylinders and one for your twin cylinders. That way you can do them both perfectly well, and yeah, realistically it's a backplate and wing system, so you can stick with the same backplate, really, just swap out the bladder. But yeah, they've tried it. It has been done before. Wasn't the most popular as like an all-around system. And yeah, the main problem comes with that low pressure inflator hose location, or the corrugated hose elbow locator. It's kind of big and bulky, and when you've got a first stage in the same area, if you need to do anything, it's just kind of clunky. But yeah, that's kind of it. There's nothing, I mean, I can't imagine there won't be a design that claims to do both singles and twins in the future. It probably will have a system similar to that, with like retention straps that hold that wing down instead of flapping up. But yeah, with retention straps, just do be aware of that like squeezing risk if you do puncture that bladder. But yeah, that probably would solve the problem. Yeah, I've been asked that question by divers many times. I want a BCD that does singles, and then if I decide to go on to twins, that as well. The real answer is backplate harness and wing system, because all you do is just swap out the bladder section, and yeah, it works perfect. You have the harness, you have the backplate, that's always the same, unless you change like from rash vest to a dry suit. And then if you change from a single cylinder to twins, then you just take that single wing off, put that to one side, get your twin wing, and then bolt it onto the back. It is a custom made BCD for you, and you don't need this like sort of hybrid that does a bit of both. But yeah, that's my usual recommendations. Any other questions, comments, or queries, pop them down in the comment section underneath this video on YouTube. Use that @OurSmart hashtag. That will get yourself and your question featured in an up and coming video. Remember to head over to our website, scubadivermag.com, see all the amazing things that we do and the latest scuba diving news. Subscribe to the channel here as well if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.